Councilman Smith.
I've been working hard to really reach out and try to understand what's going on with Occupy Asheville, and I'm going to ask for the indulgence of council. I've got several things that I'd like to say here tonight. First of all, when Occupy Wall Street started up, you'll find me very much in agreement with a lot of the political aims regarding economic justice and the propriety of government, including electoral reform. And I believe that Occupy Wall Street and Occupy Asheville both have enormous promise as growing social movements to be able to make enduring change. I think that there is a lot of promise here. So I spent a bunch of hours talking to people online and meeting with the Fed campers, and spent a couple hours down at the Lexington Avenue camp yesterday, and everyone I met was just as kind as could be and very open, and the dialogue was fruitful, I would say. I've also asked a lot of questions of staff regarding legal precedents and other legalities and some of the other city issues that are raised. And I'm really proud of how everyone has handled this situation so far. I'm proud of the campers down at Lexington Avenue for responding to the problems that emerged, and to those who aren't at Lexington Avenue for occupying in ways that they can voice their complaints and grievances and still manage to either stay within the law or make a willful decision to be nonviolent direct actors. So I'm very proud of that. I'm also very proud of this council, which, when faced with an evolving, emerging, unique situation, chose to take a temporary action right there on the spot, unusually, with the knowledge that we would take a couple of weeks and really examine all the issues, and since this council is a deliberative body, take the time to deliberate. And also proud of staff for being so responsive, and I know that the challenges that y'all faced in creating viable options was really difficult. Also, the APD, I feel, has acted in very good faith and responded very well to the entire situation as well. So everyone gets gold stars for being civil and really working towards positive change. So, I've learned some things. One thing I want to mention too, I'm also proud of the Occupy Asheville's adaptability. It's been demonstrated that this group is resilient and is adaptable. And that bodes well for all of the things as far as you trying to create a social movement. That's what it requires in order to grow and change, and so best of luck with that. And I also have learned that Occupy Asheville is not an autonomous group. There is not a set of representatives for Occupy Asheville. Occupy Asheville is it's often referred to as a leaderless organization. And when I hear that, what I hear is that when you call an organization leaderless, it means everyone has to be a leader. It means every person involved has to be a leader, and they have to take responsibility for themselves and for their own actions. And I think that is one of the virtues that you have the opportunity to embody, and that I've seen embodied in a lot of ways. It also makes it very difficult for government or other institutions to figure out how to interact with you. Because who do we make an agreement with? Who do we hold accountable? Who do we talk to? Because gosh knows, I mean, I've talked to 20 different people, and none of them necessarily knew what I told the other people who are really trying to help. You know, Rosetta being one. You know, really, she's right out in the middle of it every day. Sorry, I got my notes on my phone here. I'm trying to pull it up. So there's not an autonomous group. There's parts of Occupy Asheville that want to retain the Lexington Avenue camp. There's parts that want to occupy the green out here. There's some occupiers who want to not make an agreement with the city and do what they're doing over at the federal building and camp on the sidewalk legally. There's others who are proponents of kind of a nonviolent civil disobedience movement that kind of draws a clear autonomous line. there's a very small minority who are fairly hostile, but I haven't seen any violence, but just the language that's out there. And then there's a whole bunch of people who are watching, who think to themselves, well, gosh, I'm 99%, but they're not actively involved. And whether they get involved or not is going to be largely dependent on the people who are involved now. I'm about halfway through what I'm going to say, by the way, just so y'all can get comfortable. I am also really gratified to see this big fundraiser going on November 1st up here at the Diana Wortham Theater. It says that Occupy Asheville is that some of the leaders, when I say that, I want you to know that I mean all of you. When I say leaders, I mean all of you. Some of the leaders within Occupy Asheville have approached a city institution of Diana Wortham Theater and created this event that I think is going to be able to, you're going to be able to reach a different audience. Some of the issues that facing council, when we consider tonight our role in regards to Occupy Asheville, one, and that's been stated here tonight, is what is the precedent that we're setting? What is it going to mean, no matter what we do here tonight, for future groups who come to town, whether we like their political messages or not? What will that mean? Safety is another issue, and when I say public safety, I'm talking about safety of Occupy Asheville and everybody else. Responding appropriately to nonviolent direct action, I think, is a role that we really have to consider very seriously, because it's very clear that that's going to happen. And that's part of what social movements do, and so we had better be ready to respond nonviolently to nonviolent direct action. That would be our responsibility. And also a recognition that there are a variety of political views in the city. Occupy Asheville, the camp is underneath the Billy Graham Freeway. So just to draw a contrast here as far as how many points of view we have in the city, there's a spectrum represented right there. And not least important is an abiding respect for free speech and civil liberties. This is also our role. So to speak to these issues, first of all about legal precedents, I'm acutely aware of what we would be doing were we to allow permitted overnight camping on our city grounds for an indeterminate amount of time. I was speaking to an ACT reporter the other day who told me that in 2 other cities, the Ku Klux Klan and Westboro Baptist Church have applied for camping permits, and they're lawyered up. Were we to establish precedents here, there's no reason to expect they wouldn't show up at our door. Bob over here and his staff contending with lawsuits to the city, maybe in an effort to get free speech rights, maybe just in an effort to make some money. Based on the conversations that I've had with everyone in Occupy Asheville, I do not believe that the presence or absence of an enduring kind of permitted partnership with the city, I don't believe that that is either going to make or break this movement. If it's a social movement, it's a social movement. I want you to know that while I agree with a lot of the goals that are expressed, I also know that if it is to endure, it won't be because the government said it could. I also know that folks who want to camp can do it legally currently, as evidenced by the federal building campers. Everyone has contributed to this temporary solution. I've already complimented everybody, and I want to say that the temporary solution was designed to give us a chance to consider all these issues. And this is not the end, of course. This is, as Chaplain Zachary said, who I've gained more respect for every time we get a chance to interact, that our ongoing patience and understanding and dialogue is what is going to help all of us move the city forward. All of that being said, I appreciate your patience. I'd like to make a motion. I move that the temporary accommodations for Occupy Asheville cease on Friday, October 28th as of 6 p.m. I further move that the Asheville Police Department fully train all responding officers in nonviolent responses to nonviolent direct action and are very clear regarding protecting free speech and civil liberties. And lastly, I move that council waive fees incurred in the course of this council-initiated response to an extraordinary circumstance.
You have two motions, and I need to handle them separately, please. So let's go ahead and do your first
I
one
have
about.
three, really. There's three parts.
Let me do the first one so that